Imagine you're Amorim for a second. Your starting goalkeeper, Max, has been awful. The fans are booing, chanting for the backup, so you give in, throw the backup on, and things don't get any better. Eventually, you have no choice but to bring Max back. He plays well, suddenly everyone's calling him United's no one, the pride of the backline. But then he slips up again and the cycle restarts. Fans begging for a change in goal, watching Bayandia mess up. All Amorim can do is let out a tired sigh. Maybe it'll take a real shock to break this exhausting loop. And in the latest Europa League match, Man United did it again, disappointed their fans. Another poor showing, and once again all eyes turned to André Onana. 2 errors, 2 goals conceded, and a 2-2 draw on French soil. As always, Onana was slammed with criticism, but this time the pressure was even heavier, coming just hours after former Red Devil Nemanja Matic bluntly declared, "Onana is one of the worst goalkeepers in Man United history." No stats weeded, Onana confirmed it himself over the next 90 minutes. He arrived at Old Trafford with a big repe keeper, great with his feet, hand-picked to replace De Gea in Ten Hag's grand rebuild. But while De Gea is living it up in Florence with strong form and a solid save percentage, Onana keeps proving to be a glaring liability. And what really stuns people, why did United spend £45 million sterling, 0 pence, on a keeper who had been unemployed just a year prior? That price tag wasn't just money. It was the trust of millions of fans, many of whom now can't help but look back at De Gea with regret. The club had a shot to keep one of the best keepers of the past decade, but chose to move on in a hurry, diving into a transfer that no one's been able to justify. They say goalkeepers only need one great save to erase a bad memory. But with Onana, the bad memories just keep stacking up. That Lyon match, mistakes number 8 and 9 that directly led to goals since joining United. And that's just in a single season. Thiago Almada's free kick wasn't exactly world-class, no wicked swerve, no deflection. Yet Onana reacted like someone froze the game for a second. But in the 95th minute, when all United needed was to hang on, he spills a fairly routine shot, and Ryan Cherki taps in the equalizer. To be fair, there's the issue of burnout. Since joining United, Onana's barely had a break. Last season, he played 51 games for his club, plus international duty with Cameroon and a short-lived saga with Ten Hag. Now, under Amorim, he's still the undisputed starter. Premier League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Europa League, you name it, he's in goal. Bayandia, on the other hand, only plays when Onana has to rest. At a position where focus, sharpness, and consistency are everything, it looks like Onana's just running on empty. And no one seems to be checking if the tank needs a refill. When the mind's exhausted, mistakes happen. Not from lack of skill, but from the body refusing to cooperate. But professional football isn't forgiving. Fatigue isn't an excuse. Not here. And if anything, all of this just makes the situation more frustrating, because Onana's story isn't just about form or fitness, it's about being used until there's nothing left to give. Under Ten Hag, he was run into the ground. When Amorim took over, people hoped for a new approach, smarter rotation, better management, but no. The same cycle plays out again. Onana starts every game, every competition, even when his form's on the rocks. As for Bayandia, the big summer signing barely more than a display piece. His debut came only when Onana left for international duty. This season, a few appearances in the FA Cup and that shootout hero moment Arsenal. But that's not nearly enough to call it a real rotation plan. And Tom Heaton, people have practically forgotten he exists. The 38-year-old hasn't played since May 2023. Even if he's fit, who's putting their season in the hands of a keeper about to hit 40? So it's not hard to understand why the goalkeeper position at Old Trafford has been in constant turmoil. One guy shoulders the entire season without a break while the rest are stuck playing backup or spending time in the treatment room. In that kind of situation, even the smallest mistake can bring the whole house crashing down, especially when the attack lacks bite and the defense is always on the verge of collapse. The goalkeeper is supposed to be the rock, not the weak link. And when you line up Onana's numbers against every keeper who's worn the United badge since the 2003/04 season, the year Opta started tracking this data, it's eye-opening. He has the lowest clean sheet percentage of them all in Premier League play, just 26.1% of matches among keepers with at least 900 minutes. That's worse than De Gea, worse than Roy Carroll, who, despite often being dismissed, managed a clean sheet in over 53% of his appearances. Even Anders Lindegaard, De Gea's longtime backup, had a higher save percentage than Onana. This isn't just about individual criticism. It's a clear sign of the declining standards between the sticks for a club that once relied on giants like Schmeichel, Van der Sar, and De Gea. And that's exactly why, even though Onana isn't technically the worst goalkeeper in the Premier League this season, there are others with more mistakes. He still draws the harshest spotlight, simply because he plays for Manchester United, a club where perfection is expected. Amorim, working with a tight budget and a squad full of holes, would love nothing more than to not touch the goalkeeper position again. But if things continue like this, if Onana can't pull himself out of this downward spiral, it's only a matter of time before he becomes yet another cautionary tale at Old Trafford, a living, breathing reminder of a rushed decision gone wrong. And as the mistakes pile up, as the cracks get wider, United's leadership is being forced to ask the uncomfortable question, is it worth sticking with Onana? It's harsh, but it's the truth staring them in the face. Under Amorim, this is no longer about patience or protection, it's about weighing utility. To be fair, Onana isn't a bad goalkeeper. When it comes to playing out from the back, launching attacks, or commanding the ball with his feet, he's still among Europe's elite. But ironically, that's not what United need right now. With a disjointed defense, soft pressing, and wide-open spaces in front of the box, having a ball-playing keeper is like sticking a Formula One engine on a bicycle. What Manchester United really need right now is a steady hand, a keeper who handles the basics, saves goals that should be saved, and most importantly, doesn't cause chaos every few weeks. Sadly, Onana hasn't shown he can do that consistently. So if a club like Inter comes calling for a reunion, or if teams with more possession-based styles like Brighton, Benfica, or even a Premier League top 6 side express interest, would United really say no? This isn't just about offloading a player in decline, it's about financial flexibility. Onana still carries weight in the transfer market. He hasn't lost all value like, say, Jadon Sancho. He's still Cameroon's no one. He still has his standout performances. That alone is enough to keep him on the radar of several clubs. If United can recoup £25 0 pence 30 million, it could go a long way in helping them find a better fit for the current project. Let's not forget, Onana is 29 years old. That's a prime age for a goalkeeper, sure, but the trend now leans toward younger players with long-term upside, lower wages, and room to grow. Names like André Onana or Lucas Chevalier are well worth looking at. If experience is still a must, Diogo Costa from Porto remains a strong option. Given United's current status, out of the Champions League picture and without a solid system in place, they need players who can grow with the rebuild, not stars like Onana, who are already fully formed, expensive, and reliant on a system that doesn't exist at Old Trafford. Making the right call at the right time wouldn't just ease pressure on the goalkeeper situation, it could mark the start of a new chapter, one where United finally find true stability between the posts. And who knows, maybe one day Onana will return to face the Red Devils in Europe, playing for a team that actually knows how to use him. On that day, fans might feel a pang of regret, but they won't be bitter, because if a split happens, it won't be about betrayal, it'll be about two sides simply growing apart. Holding on out of sentiment only traps both parties in a dead end. But letting go, at the right time, might just open doors neither side ever saw coming. Manchester United need a reliable goalkeeper. And Onana? Maybe he deserves a place where he can just be himself, instead of carrying burdens he was never meant to bear.